Hey there, it is Diane Huth. We're back on the 30-day Reinvent Your Career in 30-Day Challenge. And today in the Reinvent Your Career in 30-Day Challenge, we are on day 23. We've just got 1 week left. So much to cover in so little time. Today we're still talking about how to negotiate your job offer like a pro. And we want to talk about not leaving salary dollars on the table. Remember, you have to negotiate 5 different parts of a compensation package, and your salary is just one of them. It's the most important one, of course. It's the biggest dollars, but the rest can be worth an awful lot too. So I want to talk about salary right now, knowing that other parts include non-salary compensation. They include your working conditions. They include fringe benefits, things like medical and all sorts of things, vacation time, and then talking about exceptions and what you need to ask for, specific things in advance. So all those we don't have time to cover. It's the whole course. I have an entire course called Negotiate Your Job Offer Course.com. If you go there, there's a lot more valuable information, a lot of information. Just go check it out. But in the meanwhile, this is one of the core lessons, which is don't leave salary numbers on the table. Don't leave your dollars on the table. 61% of people don't ask for more money. When they do ask for more money, the 39% that do ask for money, 85% get a yes, and on average they earn more than $7,500 as a starting number every year for the rest of their career. Because you keep benchmarking, so your annual raises are over your base, so you need to make sure your base is strong. And when you negotiate your salary, it is what you are worth, not what you need. So it's very important that you focus on benchmarking your skills to the market. There's ways you can do it. There's salary.com. One of the best ways is LinkedIn. You know, I love LinkedIn. They actually have a job section, and they can match your resume that's online, the online resume, and they can go in to their database of all the jobs that have been hired on that market, and they can tell you what you should be earning. And in different markets, there's actually a payroll calculator where you can figure out what your salary should be. And remember, it's not based on your needs, it's based on their needs and on meeting their requirements. And it's an industry standard, and you should be prepared. You should be prepared to negotiate anytime a 10 to 15% increase. So if they say this job pays $49,000, then you'd say, "Gee, I was really hoping for something more in the 54, 55,000 range. Is there any way that it could go that far? Because, you know, I do have an MBA and I am getting these experience. I've got this work experience. I've just gotten my PMP certification last month, or I'll be getting it in the next three months. I'm finalizing my PMP or whatever it is." And you give them arguments. You don't argue. You present reasons why you are worth more to the company. And you base it on your worth, what you can contribute to the company. And you don't ever do it on your needs. I have a very dear girlfriend, and she had been doing freelance work and working on her own, and she got an opportunity to go work in graphic design for a big company. And she made a terrible mistake. She was thinking, "Gee, I need $4,000 a month. I need $3,000 a month to live. You know, I'm just not making it with my freelance business and with all these other things." So she went into the interview and they said, "How much do you expect to make?" And she says, "Well, I need at least $40,000 to survive." And they said, "Okay, we can do $40,000. So what happened is 2 months into the job, she discovered that the person who she replaced was making $65,000. And if she had negotiated better, she could have at least gotten 55 or 60, maybe the same 65. But because she asked for 40, they said, "Got it, you are hired." And it saved the company a salary base of $25,000. Now, needless to say, she was very unhappy about that. It stewed on her, and she ended up quitting the job because of this dissatisfaction. So when she found out, and you always do what your peers are making, you know, people chat and there's information online, etc. When you find out that you've underpriced yourself in the market, that's not a good thing. It makes you very unhappy. Whereas when you negotiate assertively, firmly, professionally for your value, your worth, what you mean to the company, you should feel good about it. my son actually told me one of his negotiations, they said, what do you expect to make? And he says, I expect to make a very competitive salary because I've got my MBA, I've got this certification, I've got this experience, and I'm looking for this. And I know you're going to treat me fairly because you know that if I find out 3 months down the line that you're paying my peers more than I am, I'm going to be very unhappy, and that's really going to affect my ability to contribute to this company. So I expect to come in at the higher range in this position, and I'm hoping it's X amount of dollars. And he did get a very good salary because he was very upright about it. He didn't say the number necessarily that it had to be. He said a competitive, but you analyze it and you make sure that you know what you're worth and you compare on different boards. One of the things that's in the course is a calculator. It is a document, it's a 2-page document where you're going to put down all your different information, and when you go in to negotiate, you write down what you absolutely have to have, what your goal is, and then you talk about these are the talking points that you're going to ask. Well, I have this and this and this, and salary.com says this should be this, and LinkedIn, says this, and so my understanding is that the industry should be paying around this much. You should also be asking, when is the annual review? And they're going to say, oh, you get reviewed after 12 months. And you're going to say, gee, I'd really like to be reviewed after 6 months. Is that possible? Because generally there's a 3% salary bump with that annual review, and you want it 6 months earlier for the rest of your time there can turn out to a lot of money. So if you were to get $1,000 raise every year and you got it 6 months earlier, then you'd be getting an extra $1,000 every year. Just little things like that. You also ask them to round up. They might say, this position pays $52,500. And you say, that's really, after you've negotiated, but is there any way we could push it to, round it up to $53,000? That makes a lot more sense. Or even $54,000, because that comes out to X amount per month, right? Sometimes employers are going to say, and they're going to depend on what they offer you about what your current situation is, how desperate they think you are. So if you're currently employed, and we all want to be employed when we get a job offer, they're going to have to offer you the high range because they know you're probably making at least as much. I have to woo her away by paying at least $3,000 to $5,000 more than she's getting and other benefits. So if you're working, you are going to be able to negotiate the maximum salary. If you're currently unemployed, they're going to offer you the low end of the salary because they know that you don't have a lot of competition. So you want a position that you're talking with other people, and you want to make sure that you know exactly what this position is worth. And you do that through your research. So those are some of the tips on maximizing your salary. That is step 1 in a 4 or 5 part negotiation, because you're going to come back next once you've agreed on the salary. Okay, you've gone through this detail and you've agreed on it. The HR person, you always negotiate with HR, not with your manager. And so the HR person is going to say, well, let me check. They'll know how much that they can offer without having to check if it's in the range. But if it's really on the high side, they're going to have to say, maybe I really need to check because that's above our expectations for this role, or we haven't budgeted that much money for the role. And they may have to say, I have to really check with the hiring manager, and I have to check the budget because it's over what we are authorized to offer you. But that's okay. They're going to respect you better when you negotiate. Don't just roll over and take the first amount of money they offer you. We all do that. I've done that, and I sit back and say, oh my God, how was I so stupid and naive? But I did, because nobody teaches you stuff. We got to learn this stuff, and it's not easy. So I want you to consider, if you want to learn the rest of the skills on negotiating your salary, go to negotiateyourjoboffercourse.com. It's an absolute steal. I've got a special price, $7, price of 2 cups of coffee at Starbucks, and I'm going to give you all this valuable information. But you don't need to go into the course at the challenge at www.reinventmycareerin30days.com. There's valuable information. There's another video there. And I think there's a downloadable worksheet there also that will be of great value to you. Tomorrow, we are going to start talking about networking. Now, I know in this crazy world we live in right now, we're not networking outside and going to luncheons, but we will get back to that eventually. But I want to teach you the basic skills of networking, and that means engaging with people one-on-one. LinkedIn is long distance, etc., resume, but how do you network and how you build your personal brand? I'm a branding person. You are a brand. I am a brand. We need to build our brand. And one of the best ways you can do that is through all the personal interaction that you have with people. And that's called networking. So tomorrow, we're going to learn how to network your way to career success. Got a couple segments. This is wrapping up this last week. There's so much to share with you. I'm looking forward to seeing you inside the challenge. Hopefully, I'll see you on the page where I have a lot more information on negotiation, www.negotiateyourjoboffercourse.com. And then I'll see you back here at 3 o'clock again tomorrow, where we're going to start talking about networking skills. Yay! This is Diane Huth, the Accidental Career Coach, wishing you the best of career success. Bye-bye.